Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Natasha. I am a parent consultant here at the Utah Parent Center. Esperanza will be our presenter for today. I will be your facilitator. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. We are going to launch a demographic survey as we begin so we know who we were serving today. If you have filled out this questionnaire at a different session during this conference, please feel free to skip the survey. Our session is not very long and will end before we know it. I will announce when we have 20 minutes left before the session is completed. The presenter will have an additional 10 minutes to wrap up, and then when we move on to additional conferences, such as conference business and such as the prizes and the session evaluation. So again, let me introduce our presenter. Our presenter today will be Esperanza Reyes. Esperanza is a mother to two boys, including a 4-year-old and a 15-year-old with autism spectrum disorder. She currently serves as an associate director for the Utah Parent Center, or UPC. She has supported many families in the state for approximately years through the UPC. Esperanza has delivered support through individualized consultations and IEP meeting attendance with families of diverse backgrounds, has provided the parental perspective in system levels, advocacy, and committee work, and has been involved with internal project coordination and direction. Her education includes a bachelor's degree in linguistics and one in sociology. She currently has a Master's of Science in Human Development and Social Policy, along with a graduate certificate in Disability Studies from the University of Utah. Esperanza, you want to take it away?
Thank you for that introduction, Natasha. Before we go ahead and get started, I think launching that demographics poll, and maybe I didn't see it, but it's been launched. And on my end, I can't see it, but thank you for everyone for filling that out. This is a very small group, so we're able to have a conversation. I'm able to answer your questions. If you're feeling comfortable with unmuting yourself and asking them, I would be glad to do so. If you want to put it in the chat, we can address it. This is essentially a session about understanding the Utah Parent Center. When to call the Utah Parent Center is the title for our session. And just really having a more intimate knowledge of the UPC, as we call it in general. So I'm screen sharing now, and hopefully you see that very first slide. Natasha's just looking for a thumbs up that screen sharing is working. Excellent. So I've been with the Utah Parent Center this is my 10th year here at the UPC. And as such, I've been able to get quite well acquainted with the work of the center. I'm an admirer of the center myself, and it's one of the reasons why I love to do the work that we do here. So I'm hoping that many of you will walk away learning something new about the Utah Parent Center if you're already acquainted with it. And if not, and you're brand new to all of this, that you walk away having, again, a greater understanding of the work that happens here and how we can be of service to you. I'll just get started by sharing what our mission is, because that really explains in a gist why the Utah Parent Center exists and what we hope to achieve. So of course, it's to help parents help their children, youth, and young adults with all disabilities and special healthcare needs to live included, productive lives as members of the community. We accomplish our mission by providing accurate information, objective information, providing peer-to-peer support. We follow what we call a peer-to-peer model, which means that individuals who work at the Utah Parent Center are also parents of children, youth, and young adults with disabilities and special healthcare needs that serve the community. We believe that makes the work that we do feel more empathetic and genuine to the families that we serve, and that it brings an understanding of what it is like to walk the path that these families are walking. And many of our staff have faced similar obstacles, barriers, and joys, I will say, on having a child, youth, and young adult with disabilities or special healthcare needs. And this makes our advocacy more effective on behalf of families, and also in teaching families about advocacy and navigating systems. So we essentially operate on the concept of parents helping parents. We actually have our annual report posted on our website for anybody to view, anybody to download, anybody to read. But these are some numbers that really speak to the level of work that happens here through the Utah Parent Center. As you can see, we've provided thousands of services over the phone to families and professionals. We've provided hundreds of workshops that we've held statewide. And we have definitely trained and reached many an individual throughout our state, 35,000 as we counted when it came to our virtual and in-person trainings, as well as the number of participants in our events. This is, hopefully you can see, a picture of our staff. This is the most recent one, and we have a fairly large-sized group. We sit at a little bit over 40 staff here at the Utah Parent Center, and again, we're all primarily parents of children, youth, and young adults with disabilities, and we do have that unique perspective that we bring to the table. I mentioned advocacy earlier in the presentation, and these individuals receive a lot of input, information, have a lot of contact with the community at large, and as such are able to listen to different perspectives, of course, draw conclusions on some of the things that they're seeing, and share that perspective with partners that we have, in committees that we serve on, in work groups that we support. And in addition to speaking and serving with families and professionals directly, these individuals are often in touch with decision makers in the community that are able to impact some of those decisions made on behalf of families throughout the state. Okay, trying to advance. Here we go. There are quite a few projects here at the Utah Parent Center, and there's different areas that we group them into in order to help the public understand what we're touching in terms of the different realms. And so we've grouped it into 4 different areas, and that includes education, educational supports, educational information, transitions, and transition means change. So shifting from one stage to another, and that happens throughout the life of an individual. Healthcare, health supports, health information, and community. So accessing community information, community services at large. And most of our information and supports happen at the statewide level, but we do have some dedicated regional supports, and we'll go over what those are. We're also present in online in the social media platforms and also the internet. If you've attempted to navigate our website, it can be maze-like because there's so much information to be had on that website. And what is fabulous about the Utah Parent Center is we've been around for decades. And so information has continued to increase and gather in that single place. And it can be difficult to understand, but if you ever have questions about the website, its layout, you're always welcome to call. That's one of the reasons to call the Utah Parent Center. And after we're through with the presentation, we'll navigate the website a little bit so I can show you some things that I think are relevant and important for you to know about it. We are now more present than ever online when it comes to our both consultations and trainings. Many families will reach out via email. We might have a video conference consultation with them, or we might be visiting different areas of the state in person, be hosted at places, or organize something in different areas where we can connect with families in person. Here you see an image with different consultants. Natasha, who's our facilitator for today's session, is one of them. And this group of really talented parents have been supporting individuals statewide. We are able to help families understand entry into, exiting out of, and really navigating the waters of the educational system when it comes to individuals with disabilities and special healthcare needs. These folks that you see pictured here specialize in understanding the education information, the plans, and everything that happens in between. They serve the whole state. So there is no limitation essentially to where they can go. And this is a project that we call the Parent Training and Information Project, or PTI, internally for our own purposes. And this PTI group is funded and part of a network of federal funding through the U.S. Department of Education. So there's a network of parent centers out there that serve their states or their areas. Some states have more than one. In Utah, we only have one, to bring this information about navigating special education, the individualized education program, understanding anti-discrimination statutes like Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and bringing information about how everything operates in our state, as there are also state regulations that would apply to what happens in Utah, to families. And these individuals are highly compassionate and highly proficient in understanding those systems. Now, something that has been quite unique and is really helpful to how we operate here in the state of Utah is that we've been able to take this model and actually apply it to specific regions. And thanks to this, we have parent consultants that serve what we call local education agencies, and those are school districts and charter schools, quite individually and regionally. So there's a group of individuals here through the UPC. I think we're sitting at about 13 different parent consultants that serve a specific district in particular, or that serve a cadre of charter schools. And the grouping only grows in that there's a lot of value in having that individualized support and having these individuals understand and know the relationships and the roles that different folks have at these districts and charter schools, and support families in navigating and problem solving. I would say all large districts, the top large districts of the state, have a dedicated parent consultant at this point in time, and then some. So this is quite a service and quite a benefit to families in the state that the Utah Parent Center can help provide and support. As you know, we are a parent training and information center. We provide training, we provide information. So we create materials, we create information, we put it online, we put it to writing, we put it in booklets, we put it in information sheets. So you'll be able to see some of the creations we have through the Utah Parent Center. But if you've wondered how to navigate special education, we have a wonderful handbook that again can walk people through qualifying for services, understanding their plan, developing their plan, even understanding the acronyms that take place within the education system, how to partner with schools, how to partner with the team that is formed to help write individualized education programs for students, and what to do when people don't see eye to eye and there may be disagreements that ensue in this process. One of our best services that we have here at the Utah Parent Center is the ability to accompany families to some of these tough meetings that they face and support students, especially youth, as they are transitioning into their own adulthood and are learning to advocate for themselves and what is helpful to them as they prepare for the future, being able to work with them individually so that they can advocate at their own meetings and be able to talk about the choices that they believe are needed for their own future. This is available. Everything that I'm going to share today is available on the website. And there's a couple of handouts that I'll share after we've gone through the presentation that will be emailed to participants as well. Another piece of information that's available to download is this information about Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Again, this is about access and anti-discrimination in public settings, but in the school settings in particular. For this booklet, it was put together by the State Board of Education, but it is a key piece of information for individuals to know. If a family has questions about Section 504 or the differences between an IEP and a 504, or what is covered by each, how do they interact, accommodations for students in the school setting, they should call the Utah Parent Center. We can have that individualized consultation and conversation about what this means and how it applies essentially at the individual level. A copy of this presentation will also go out to participants. So if you miss a QR code, no need to worry, you'll get a copy of it. Another fabulous project and area that we have here at the UPC has to do with transition and transitioning to adult life. This is a team of 2 individuals that spearhead the efforts that happen at the Utah Parent Center when it comes to transition. And we do have a session throughout this week of conference presentations that will focus on this area. So I won't say too much about it other than it's actually quite a neat project. A lot of excellent materials have been developed through this project. And the focus is not just something like education, but it is a more holistic look and a holistic approach to an individual as they are growing up and accessing and touching different points within the system to help them navigate that more appropriately. As families are reaching that older age, many of them start to wonder about needing protections, legal protections, shifts as somebody turns into an adult, a legal adult in the US and definitely here in Utah, once they reach the age of 18 and navigating that service. So this particular project has created this booklet in collaboration with other projects of the UPC to help explain and demystify this process that happens through the court. It is a legal process, and there's definitely state regulations to understand and know how to do this and when it may potentially be needed, as it is not a guarantee that this is needed, but it is an option among other ways to support individuals with their decisions. Youth are a group that is served here through the Utah Parent Center. And not only are we creating materials to help youth, but we're also creating workshops that are taught jointly between parents and youth to help them understand how to navigate systems. This wonderful booklet, Choices, covers a plethora of areas. And so if anyone should have any questions around SSI, SSDI, navigating Medicaid, planning for the future, financial questions, caring for their own physical and mental health, they can explore this book, but also give us a call for a consultation. This booklet in particular was developed with youth in mind, and it's full of worksheets and examples and easily understood graphics so that they can be utilized between a caregiver youth pair in support of the youth understanding and thinking through some of their options. And of course, we understand that there's a wide range of disabilities and abilities, and what a person is able to take away from something, understand, and navigate is very much individualized. That being said, this can be a tool to many a family that will need to use it. We do on our website have a whole section dedicated to transition topics. And not only will you find the booklets that I shared with you, but you'll find videos and information sheets associated with all of these topics. Another project of the Utah Parent Center is our Utah Family Voices project. This is another federally funded project, but it is funded through the Health and Resources Administration under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And this particular project focuses on the health piece, partnerships between families and the health system and the professionals within that system, as well as focusing on navigating the financial aspect of it all, which means insurance, Medicaid, lack thereof, and services, therapies, the whole gamut when it comes to health. So these folks are also highly experienced when it comes to having an individual or a child that has those needs and can speak to the resources available in the state. One piece of information that usually is spearheaded by that particular project is our summer resource guide, where we go through accessing community services and what's available for families. This is the latest iteration of this resource guide. It sits on our website. But the truth is, many of these programs and resources are available all year long for families. And so knowing what's in there is usually helpful. This tended to be one of my favorite resources as a parent myself, as I was navigating what's available in the state. And it is something that we update annually for families. We also have a section now about tips for making it more inclusive, the programming that is happening throughout the state, and it is organized by county, as well as having a section that's not disability specific, so that families are aware of what other services are available to anyone in the state, especially those that are found online. We also have a team of individuals that are highly knowledgeable about early hearing detection and intervention. Our EDI, as we call them internally, parent consultants, support families that are either receiving a diagnosis or going through screening and assessment, evaluation, testing services for identifying whether their child is either hard of hearing or has fluctuating hearing loss or are deaf. If a family finds themselves in that situation, understanding how to navigate the world, community services has high importance, especially as language is such a key aspect of development. And regardless of the choice or method that families choose for communication for their child and what works best for them, these individuals have resources that they put together, that they share with families and can connect them with. And they specialize in those little ones that are 0 to 3. So again, sort of beginning in terms of life and going through some screenings. But it's wonderful to have them as parents themselves of individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing and navigating the world. And they often serve in consultation to the rest of our team that may not necessarily have that direct experience with their own children. So something I'll say is we have a variety of disabilities and ages and special healthcare needs represented within our staff. And there's often a reliance on each other to understand experiences better, or connecting families to those that have lived something that's similar to what is being brought to our attention. So it really is nice to have such diversity and variety in the individuals here at the Utah Parent Center. Our family to family network is led by this wonderful coordinator that you see pictured here. She supports families and volunteers that help families in their areas. She specializes in helping with strengthening, educating, and training individuals that serve, again, on a volunteer capacity for families that are on the wait list for services through the Division of Services for People with Disabilities, or the DSPD waitlist. These individuals have high needs, have been found eligible to sit on the wait list, and just wait for services. And while they wait for services, it is known and understood that networking and connecting with other families that are going through similar needs is always a benefit to those individuals on the wait list. So the family to family network spearheads the networking part of getting those families together and engaging them with information, training, and opportunities to network with each other. So if you are wondering about the family to family network, do you have one near you? There's a list on our website about each of the networks and where they're found. We also look for leaders in this area. So if you are a parent who is eligible for services through the Division of Services for People with Disabilities and would like an opportunity to serve, this is one place where the service is absolutely welcomed. So please connect with us and ask about that. Now, understanding the Division of Services for People with Disabilities and the different waivers, and also the waivers that are administered through what used to be the Utah Department of Health and now is in combination the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, is also an important part of what families need to know. So there's resources available to that end. This is actually another session that we'll be having throughout the conference week. So if you're hoping to learn more about what this entails, how people are eligible, what the criteria is, etc., please sign up for this particular session. And certainly, we offer all kinds of events here through the Utah Parent Center in collaboration with partners or through requests by others, as well as just to achieve some of the goals that we have for the grants and the projects that we utilize to operate. So we do have a calendar of events, and we'll navigate to it when I share the website so that you can see what's available. But here's a sampling of some of the things. Obviously, we're partaking in this, so you're aware of the conference and the festival that's taking place on Friday. But beyond what's happening this week, we do have some calendars that are available and up for individuals to view. This is just the first page of each of those, but we'll navigate to the website where you can see them, download them, peruse them, print them, hand them out. If you're a professional that works with families, about some of the things that are coming up through the Utah Parent Center. So we've organized them for the time span that we would call the school year, essentially. And that's where we see a lot of our activities take place, families engaging and being interested in what trainings are happening through the center. So you'll be able to see months in advance what's taking place at the UPC and decide whether this is something that you need to take for yourself, your own family member, or as a professional, if this is something you want to make sure other families are aware of that you're serving. Here's another page of those annual calendars. And on the first page, we saw the PTI, or the Education Project. We saw Utah Family Voices, our healthcare project. And then here you see that we have some offerings completely in Spanish. That's what this one is. And we also have offerings happening monthly for our transition information through Transition University. And these are some of the topics that are coming up through December. Again, there's more pages to each of these. This is just to show you what those look like. And then we'll navigate on the website where you can find them. Something exciting to report to everyone is there's always different projects happening here at the Utah Parent Center to benefit our families. And we are putting together some sip shops through our sibling project, and that is new to the center. And our very first one is coming up right in the middle of this month. So this is something to look forward to. There will be more offerings throughout the year, but this is new to the center. And this is meant for those siblings of individuals with disabilities and special healthcare needs that have the need to be supported and network with other siblings of individuals. This is a group, as you can see here, that's for 8 to 13-year-olds. We will have different age groups represented in what's coming up for the center, but this is something to be in the know about. And if you're wondering, what is the Utah Parent Center up to? I'll show you how to get connected to the center as well. So ultimately, the question is, when on earth should I call the Utah Parent Center? There's a lot of things that happen here through the center. And we are, again, a parent-to-parent model, parent-to-parent approach, but we're also highly connected and highly knowledgeable. So if you're a new parent and you think your child is not reaching milestones and you need help in finding information about where to go, evaluation or therapies, you can call the Utah Parent Center. If you are wondering where to find services near your area, you can call the Utah Parent Center. If you're wondering about any resource and whether you're connected to everything that you're wondering about, many a family will say, I was given some information, but I don't know what to do or where to go from here. You can call the Utah Parent Center, and we're often listed as one of those primary places to get in touch with to help start the navigation process. If you are or have a child in special education or on a plan and you're wondering about how it works, or you're having some difficulties, whatever that might be, you can call the Utah Parent Center. And again, just transitioning from one stage of life to another, what comes next, you can call the Utah Parent Center. So there's a lot of conversations we have, and something that we do want you to walk away with knowing is it's confidential. So if you're ever in doubt, you can call the center, have those conversations, speak with our team members, and know that that is a safe, okay place. We don't share any information unless you as a parent or a professional have given us that express permission to do so. We take that quite seriously and hope to be able to either provide ideas, bring solutions to the table. Not everything has an easy answer or an answer per se. Life is complicated. Navigating life with needs when it comes to disabilities is absolutely complicated, but we try our best to leverage the network that we have, the partnerships that we have, and the information that we bring in order to support that individual, youth, or young adult with disabilities and special healthcare needs navigate life. This will be a handout that will also be an attachment to the registration materials. So if you are not already connected to our mailing list, I'll show you where that is on our website and how to quickly get linked to the Utah Parent Center. In addition to what we've already discussed and what you've seen here, every now and then we receive information where a partner alerts us that something is taking place, and we pass that along to the public. So again, we want families to be as informed, as educated, as in the loop as they can possibly be when it comes to disability issues and needs. We are also everywhere on social media. If there's a social media channel, we're on it. So get connected to the Utah Parent Center through those if that's your desired way to access information, and know that we're around. So we're on those platforms. We do have a line that's completely dedicated to Spanish-speaking families, which is essentially our largest language that is spoken outside of English in the state, by far. And so that is an asset to many a family, and we do have some native Spanish-speaking consultants as well. That being said, families that have limited English proficiency and speak other languages can also call the center. We can access interpreting services and have done so for many a family as well in order to bring them support. So we do have those native Spanish-speaking individuals at the Utah Parent Center, but we can also serve and connect with those that speak other languages. Okay, let me exit this particular presentation, and let's just navigate the website. But before we navigate, any questions? And I haven't been watching the chat, so I don't know if anything's come through. No, okay. Thank you, Natasha.
Just a heads up too, it is now 12:38, so we have about 20 minutes left.
Okay, thank you, Natasha. So on our webpage, we have these sliders, these banner sliders, and they have the most recent type of information and activities that are happening through the Utah Parent Center. So anything that is recently published, any major activities like the conference, that kind of information is on there. You can find our report, our annual report. Here's that summer resource guide we were discussing earlier. Here's that annual report about our services and what we do through the Utah Parent Center, etc. So that's something to know about what you see here. But if you scroll all the way down and you're hoping to either, help somebody connect or connect yourself, this is where you find our mailing list and where you can sign up for it. So all we need is a name and an email address and what kind of mailing list you want to be connected to it. You will promise us you're not a robot and then sign up for the mailing list if you're not already getting it. Something to note is if you have been on the Utah Parent Center mailing list in the past and have opted out, to opt back in, you need to alert us because the system is not so friendly to us in that it's easy to just sign up for it again. It will recognize the past email address and recognize that somebody had unsubscribed. So do let us know if you've tried getting reconnected to the mailing list and you haven't been able to. But for those of you that never have been and would like to be, this is the place to go. In our About tab, you can read more about the different projects that we were discussing. We talked about the Family to Family Health Information Center, which is our Utah Family Voices, a PTI that specializes in education, the Family to Family Network, and the different areas that receive volunteer support. Here's the list of all those districts that have a dedicated parent consultant through the Utah Parent Center. So let's just open up in a new tab. I don't want to close the main page, and I will show you some things that I want to share with you. We'll just open up Outline as a sample. So here is the education workshop calendar for the entire year for the PTI. So you're able to look at both pages. For our Utah Family Voices, here's our workshop calendar for the year. If you're looking for your LEA consultant, you'll be able to find their cell phone numbers, their email addresses, and what they can do specifically for families. These are general information pieces associated with, as you can see, disabilities, but our main resources are really found here. And that is quite the list to navigate. But if you're looking for information, you can always use the search button here on the website, or start exploring within the resources. But this tab is crucial in knowing what's coming up from the center, because you can sign up for any and all events that are open to the public through here. And this is not organized by project, but just what is happening when. And so people can peruse the calendar for the Utah Parent Center here. If it is in Spanish, it'll be written in Spanish, but for the most part, you'll be able to just connect to whatever is on here in English. We also have a dedicated tab in Spanish. However, something to be in the know about is the homepage. You can select the language to translate pretty much any body of information you see on the page to a variety of different languages. So that is actually quite neat and really helpful for when you find a resource that you either want to share with a family, or we need to share with somebody in that language. Google Translate is not the best translation in the world, but it is actually much better than it used to be, say, a decade ago when this was accessible to the public. It has really done a lot of, I suppose, learning. I'm not a computer scientist by any means, but I can see that the work in a different language is much more elevated than it used to be and much more accurate. So that is a positive and a plus. Okay, I think I've shared everything that I wanted to share with you on the website. The one thing about our YouTube channel on, for the Utah Parent Center on YouTube is many of these things are recorded, these presentations, and they get uploaded to our YouTube page. And maybe I should have just clicked on that one. Let's see. Let me just go back and do that. That'll take us to the YouTube.
I had someone.
But if you haven't been to the Utah Parent Center's YouTube page, you'll be able to find lots and lots of information about many a topic. And again, even past conference playlists are available to you there. Okay, so now I will stop screen sharing and happy to have a conversation about clarifying when it's appropriate to call the Utah Parent Center with anybody that still has any questions, has any comments if you've used the services. We're happy to hear from you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Sorry. I'm not showing my face because I'm ill, but I am wondering about last year I couldn't get my school. My son has a 504 plan and I couldn't get them to have a meeting with me. Is it useful for me to have someone from your organization contact? I mean, does it pressure them into having a 504 meeting? Like, does it have more weight if you guys call them than if I call them? Does that make any sense?
That's a wonderful question, Anna. And yes, let me attempt answering that. When you're having any difficulty, such as the one you mentioned, contacting our center is definitely helpful in a variety of ways. One of them being they can teach you about what is that chain of command, what are the options in terms of what step to take next to try and get your issue resolved. Sometimes when families communicate with other professionals, things get lost through the cracks, and calling attention to it again is helpful. Can our consultants reach out and be a bridge? Yes, it can happen. Obviously considering whether or not that's the warranted next option, etc. So would it be helpful? Yes.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Is there there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there an age limit to our services? We won't turn anyone away. We definitely have age brackets that we're required to serve. That being said, we have families calling when their child is already a much, much, much older adult because the needs appear for a different set of reasons. So no, we'll never say, sorry, your child is too old, we can't help you at all. Or you yourself, if you're the adult with the disability. That being said, if we can connect you to other helpful resources, we will provide that information too. But no, we will not turn families away. That's a wonderful question, Brad. Yes, we do have mental health resources here from our center, and some of the booklets that I showcased in the presentation actually have sections around mental health and crisis help and support. We just finished going through our summer series called SOS, Save Our Summer. Essentially, that was all mental health specific. And those were recorded, and if not already on our YouTube page, we'll be there shortly. So yes, we do. Oh, these are excellent questions. Anything else? Well, we would love to thank you for taking the time coming from that holiday weekend to dive into this conference presentation with us. We appreciate everyone's time